This is the Milo Sweet Podcast, where you'll learn to get unstuck. Start now. Conquer life's challenges by learning to do difficult. Find quick and clever ways to overcome. Wait, did you think life was going to be easy? Remember, all of your excuses are now dead to me. Let's get started. Guess what time it is? It's time for you to hit the subscribe button and find just 1% that you think will benefit from this. But if you're feeling a little like generous, right? Or you're super free with your time right now, probably doing nothing because you're listening to this. Well, maybe if you're doing something, actually just make yourself free right now. Hit subscribe. What are you waiting for? Hit it. Come on. Hit subscribe.
Going back to whenever it was when I had made a batch and it was a failure. I mean, it was like a bad failure. My husband was working night shift at the time. He doesn't anymore, and I said I had 5 kids, so I had started this journey. I've been making soap for our family for about 5 years, and 4 or 5 years. So at the time, our oldest was 10. And so I'd gotten all the kids to bed, and I made a batch. And when I say it was bad, it was so bad. So I had actually Marco'd or FaceTime my husband, and I said, I'm thinking about starting a YouTube channel called How Not to Make Soap. It was really true to the saying of it's as ugly as homemade soap. It was that bad. It was so bad. And that is one of the things you said is enjoy the process and learn to laugh at yourself. And I think it was Thomas Edison. He said, people were telling him, you didn't create a life. Or how many times did he fail? And he said, I didn't fail. I figured out this many times of how not to make it. And I mean, I've had to remind myself of that. Sometimes I'm like, well, we just start again, pick up and continue, and don't just stop or quit. And that was something that was important that I've even been trying to teach the girls is, it's okay. Like if you mess up, it's all right. We can, even if it's a batch that we mess up on and it's not perfect, or cause we cut it and they have to cut it in 4 ounces. So 4-ounce bars is what we sell. And we have some other, options like sample bars and stuff. But I teach them, if it's 3.5, it's not close enough. So say it's 3.5. Okay, put that one aside. It's not the end of the world. We can use that one. But if we're selling it to our customers as 4 ounces, it's got to be within 2 to 3 ounces, or 2 to 3, not ounces, but point ounces. So if it's 3.7, okay, that's okay. If it's 4.1 or 4.2, it's okay. But you have to have that thing where, okay, this is not right. So we've got to correct this because you want to be honest, and teaching them to be honest, but also to do things diligently and do it, correct. And perfection is that's just a state of mind. For myself, just throw it out the window because everything is not perfect. And like you said about creating a problem, it's actually made me more diligent to say, okay, we've got to plug in. And I appreciate you having us on, your podcast. And this is an amazing opportunity. And we've had another opportunity that's, came up to us that we could possibly take our products to a show that's either in Southern California or into Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia. We're not sure if we're going to take it or not, but it's something that's exciting, but it's made me be more diligent to okay, you've got to kind of step it up because it's something we did on the side, and it's something we've just been doing, and the girls have been happy because they get some cash, they get some money, and then they get to learn how to tithe their money. They learn how to, it's fun and exciting when they have money. And I've noticed, me and my husband have both noticed how that it makes them where they're not so dependent upon us and they're independent. And I think that that's really important. I know that there's a fine line. You don't want to be so independent that you don't need anybody in your life, but to have them where they're independent and they're saying, oh, Mom, I can, I've got this. I'm going to take care of this. It's really fun to see them. I mean, they're 11 and 13 years old, but yet they're making decisions regarding their money and they're saving for things that they want in the future. And it's really exciting to see them handling and learning how to manage money. But if we never have an opportunity for them to earn any money, then they can never learn how to manage it. And sometimes kids are going high school, college, they don't even know how to manage money, but yet they're thrown into adulthood and they don't even know what they're doing.
So okay, you're giving me so many nuggets here. Thank you very much, by the way. So something I really believe in, I learned this, I've said this before in my podcast, from Tom Bilyeu of Impact Theory, that the best way you can teach success is for you to feel good about yourself when you're by yourself. When no one's there, when mommy and daddy are not there, your spouse isn't there, your friends are not there, you know what makes you feel good. And then on a practical standpoint, let's take, Christianity out of it for just a second, is that the way you usually can feel good about yourself is you learn a skill, you apply that skill, and through practice or a pattern of applying that, you get some confidence. And that can change, to you want to get more confidence or you want to learn more, you apply more, and you can, stretch your skill and your value. And then you take that to the marketplace and you can be a resource for someone or create resources for people. So either way, but you know that your skill is valuable. And what you're teaching your kids is, I love Dave Ramsey, that he teaches you to give some, save some, and spend some. But I would actually add a fourth one, and the fourth one would be earn some. Because if you don't really connect how your skills translate to the marketplace or your livelihood or your strengths or just as your being, it kind of becomes convoluted when you're trying to adulting, as they call it, #adulting. When you're trying to figure out what does it mean to be an adult and be responsible, and I gotta buy groceries, but I can't even afford the food my parents used to feed me, or it's just a lot of mental things that go on that you're if I could just give you this tool that you have the power to earn money, you can show up today somewhere and be a resource for someone or provide a resource. Your soap is very valuable. Provide that for people, and now that creates the need for monetary exchange.
Cindy is involved in her community, serious about her craft, and committed. Cindy is amazing, always goes the extra mile, and is a pleasure to work with. Thinking of buying or selling a home in the Beaverton, Portland area? Give Cindy Thackeray, licensed real estate agent in Oregon with John L. Scott, a call or text 503-758-4645.
Now, for those of the parents that are at home, that's wonderful. How do you do that? So what are 3 tips that you would say? I know you kind of stumbled upon this a little bit. It was more making soap for your family. But what are 3 things that if parents are at home and they're hey, I want my kids to have those skills, I want to teach them how to earn money. What can they do?
I would say, you got to start small. And I would still say that we're at a small scale, but that's always been something that my husband and I, we actually started doing Dave Ramsey, applying the principles that he teaches in 2006. And so we wanted to teach our kids how to handle money. My husband was not taught any of that by his parents growing up. I was taught through my parents that did Larry Burkett, but it was kind of more, I don't want to mean, but it was this, it was trying to listen to a brilliant adult as a kid, and you just really didn't get it. So we started teaching our kids, trying to teach them different things in a small scale. So we would have things that they did around the house because they're part of the family, but then we would also have things that they could do to earn money. And so, it might be, just real small things like unloading the dishwasher, vacuuming. We did age appropriate, and there's great resources that you can find for age appropriate chores. So our 9-year-old, which is the youngest, he's our youngest. We have 3 boys and 2 girls, but our 9-year-old, he's now mowing our yard. But our older boys, which is they're 15 and 13, and they are already doing our neighbor has a bunch of roses. I want to say a dozen. No, there's 15 bushes of roses. Well, they started out trimming his roses, and they've been doing this for 3 years now. And then he was so surprised that they did a good job. Then he started having them do his yard. Well, they get to do that. And so they get money. And then when they have their money, they come home and they tithe, they have spending money, and they have saving money. So what that looks like is over time, and their savings money in order for them to spend it, they have to have a business meeting with mom and dad. So their savings money, they can't just go, oh yeah, I want, a pack of gum, I'm going to go to my savings. No, savings is something that you've planned for. Now spending, if you want a pack of gum, go get the gum. That's not a big deal. However, the savings is something that you are intentionally planning for. And so both of our boys, just in this past month, they've been saving, and they just bought a very big item that was, each of them paid $400 for this. And
Whoa.
so they got to have that reward. And you just to see they're 13 and 15. So they got to lay down the $400 cash that they've been working for this item. And it was just huge to them. And I'm telling you what, the pride and just the confidence to know I worked for this and I just paid for this. There's nothing that can replace that. I mean, I know kids that are graduated from high school who they don't even have a skill. They don't doing. And
right.
As a parent, like that's our job, is to be teaching our kids. Now, so one of our daughters is really, really into it. The other one, she actually likes to bake more, but we have not opened up a bakery. However, what we have did is, we did this twice, is just did a bake sale from our house. And I like to bake and stuff, but I'm just not interested in open a bakery right now. So she just thrives when we did that bake sale. And I mean, we just did wonderful. Like, we just did it in front of our house. Like, so we had neighbors that came and bought cakes and cookies, and the girls were just so excited to do that. So I think it's important to know what your kids are interested in. Like, you as a parent may, whatever you are, your skills are, it may not be the interest of your kids, and to really try to find what they're interested in that can make money. With that being said, though, also going back to mistakes and trying to not to be so hard on the kids. I'll tell you a real quick story that happened with the girls. We were actually pouring soap, and at this point we didn't have a little shop set up in the garage. We were outside in the yard, and we were pouring soap, and we had put cocoa powder, because all of our soap is natural ingredients. So we don't use no soap scents. We don't use no man-made synthetic. We use only natural stuff. So our scents are essential oils. And then our coloring is either with cocoa powder, charcoal, turmeric, things like that. So we had one that was the base and one that had cocoa powder in it. And we were going to try to make some sort of soap. But I had told our youngest daughter, I said, mix this, but don't pour it in yet. And I stepped in the house to grab something and come back out, and she is pouring it in. She's pouring it in the mold. Well, it wasn't all the way mixed up. And so I was like, oh no. And then I just sat there and I'm just looking oops, Well, the funny thing is it actually turned out brilliant. And it created this peppermint mocha, which is a soap that we still sell to this day, is peppermint mocha, because it has this swirl and it looks like coffee and cream. Anyways, it's called peppermint mocha. And I just laughed. And I was like, oh, well. And when we cut it, it was amazing. Well, accidents happen, but that accident actually turned out to be a fun thing. And we laugh about it to this day, because she just decided to pour it and it all worked out fine. So, there's accidents and mess ups that happen along the way, but it's okay. Have fun. If I would have just scolded her and just went off, she'd probably never wanted to make soap again with me. But we just kind of laughed it off and was like, oh, well, we'll see how this goes. Because it didn't mess up the ingredients any. It just wasn't the design we were going for, but it actually turned out to be a better design.
All right, that's another episode in the books. Hello? I said it's over. Why are you still listening? Seriously. The episode is over. If you're still listening right now, you know what? You're probably a chronic procrastinator. Guess what? I'm still listening too. Come on, for real, seriously. We gotta go do something productive. No, for real. No, for real. Okay, you can keep listening.